Welcome back to another edition of Idology, your weekly deep dive into all things American Idol, brought to you by a literally glowing Kelly Clarkson.
It's hard to get high when you're living on the bottom.
And Scotty McCreery's Guns.
Look who's back, Scotty and the big guns here, huh?
I'm here with season 6 standout Melinda Doolittle. Melinda, thanks for being with us today.
I'm excited. This is a good one. And just for the record, Scotty's arms did kind of look good. That's all I'll say about that.
Before we start talking about some of the transcendent, and I do mean transcendent, things that happened during top 6 week of Idol,
Everything is perfect.
It's falling into place.
let's talk about a theory that's being floated in the blogosphere and by some fans that even though we clearly are going to have a female winner this year,
I can't seem to wipe this smile off my face.
unless Uncle Nigel pulls some weird card and allows Lazaro back into the competition, or is like suddenly says like, here's a hot guy with a guitar.
Is he amiable?
Who? Is he handsome? Who?
He's sure to be handsome.
That's just not funny.
Some people have said it's a hollow victory because they didn't put through strong guys this year.
I totally disagree, actually. I don't think it's a hollow victory at all. I think that, God bless it, we've been left with 5 killer female vocalists. This is the best top 5 I've ever seen. And however it was stacked, whatever happened, thank you for doing what you did, because this top 5 makes me so excited. So if I need to thank Uncle Nigel, then thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
First thing we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge that this guy's awesome.
What?
To me, it's sort of like going to the best steakhouse in the world and getting 5 great dishes and then being like, I didn't appreciate that there was no filet of sole. Shut up, shut
Right,
up. You got a
shut
delicious
up.
meal served to you, now shut up and eat it.
Hey, hot pie. It's really good.
Sure, did the judges put through better female contestants this year than they did men? Yeah.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
If you look at what's happened to women ever since season 6, in your season, where we had some very, very strong women in that final 4, it was 3 out of 4 women, and all of you guys were great, but women have not been promoted on the show since then. Women have not been put through since then.
A lot of incredible talent is going to home tonight.
Think about black women specifically on the show. Can you think of anybody they've put through since your season that was a legit contender for the win? Probably not. Saisha, in spite of everything, but they stopped her in her tracks.
They did.
With Judges' Choice Week. You know,
Yeah.
look at what happened to Carly in season 7,
Carly, you are leaving us.
Allison in season 8,
It felt a little bit mechanical. It was more like a 7 out of 10.
Haley in season 10.
My opinion is, I didn't like it. I thought you were screaming.
Bored now.
The deck has not been favorable to women in a long time, so if for one season they're dealt a stronger hand, so be it.
Thank you. Who run the world?
Who run the world?
You know that we girls hold all the power, right? As it was and ever shall be.
The other thing that slays me is when people are like, there's no creativity. Look, creativity does not mean a dude with a guitar necessarily. You know, and if you need a hot white man on your screen, Keith Urban is there for you to write your fanfic.
It's mesmerizing.
Very correct. And I'm just going to put Ryan Seacrest in that. Just saying. Had a long-standing crush on that one.
How have these women not been creative? Candace Glover has given us Love Song and Heard It Through the Grapevine, crazy rearrangements. Janelle Arthur has changed up the Beatles and the Supremes.
Set me free, why don't you, babe?
Angie Miller has sung songs by Colton Dixon and some chick whose name is not going to come to me now. I'd never
Carrie
heard of her
Joe.
before, never
Carrie
heard of her
Joe.
song.
Love came down and it set me free.
What Cree does to a song is extremely creative and artistic.
Cree brought us Susan Tedeschi.
Now I know you've been cheating and lying.
Instead of looking for a reason to complain, just go with it. Go with God.
Yes.
Go with what's been given to us. Go with what's good. Let's be happy.
Where do you want to go? Hey? What do you want to see?
Exactly, because only God could have given us this top 5.
Something awesome.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of God, let's just talk about Candace Glover's performances this week.
Oh.
However long I stay.
At the risk of sounding like Randy Jackson,
It would be most inconvenient since I just want to loathe him for all eternity.
come on. I mean, that really was at least one of, if not the best performance that's been on the show.
One of the greatest performances in the history, 12 years of American Idol.
Let's start with Don't Make Me Over, because when Don't Make Me Over was done, tears were streaming down my face.
Thank you.
Accept me for what I am. When Nikki said we've got a women's revival up in here, I was like, yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
I wanted to have a woman's revival in here or something like that.
I completely cried, and I was like, accept me too.
What I loved too is that Keith actually backtracked and was like,
That performance alone, you just completely became in my top 3 tonight.
These pleasing attentions proceed from the impulse of the moment, or are they the result of previous study?
I think he was haunted by not putting her in his top 3. I don't believe that he said that on his own. I think he was forced to say that.
Contract.
And this time around, he was like, okay, like, I've been sitting on this bad feeling all week. You're in my top 3 now.
Nicely done, sir.
And when that performance was done, I feel like Candace was like, okay, now that you're all back on board.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
This was the Holy Ghost's version of Love Song. I swear to God.
Yes.
Like, there was some weird voice, like, from the ether that came out in the middle of that performance. Did you hear that voice?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna call that the Holy Ghost, but you can call it what you like. It scared the bejeebers out of me.
They can flash the applause sign, and I know that they can flash the shush sign. I'm sure they have a shush sign somewhere.
I think that's the worst performance you've ever had on the show. I'm speechless. I don't even know what's going on.
But something took over that audience. People lost their damn minds. It was like Oprah's favorite things, and she was giving everyone a car. Lost in that was the fact that Cree Harrison had a really, really good week on the show.
I think Cree had her best week yet.
Talk to me a little about what the world needs now. Is it really hard to start something a cappella knowing that the band is going to come in?
It's really scary. It's extremely risky, and not too many people have done it and done it well.
What the world needs now.
You could go sharp or flat, and when the band comes in, it's really, really noticeable. But Cree was like centered.
It's the only thing.
She did runs and still kept her pitch center, which is really hard to do.
That there's just too little love.
Once again, we got masterpieces from Cree, and then her emotion matched it, and that to me is like top of her game.
Help Me Make It Through the Night was really great. It was a different mood for her. It's a little more adult. It's a little more of a sensual song. You know, when she did that Let the Devil Take Tomorrow line, and her voice got a little gritty.
Let the devil take tomorrow.
And I thought it was a little weird that Mariah was sort of like, people are complaining about your emotional connection to the song.
If you feel like hamming it up and faking an emotional thing, then go on ahead and do that.
No, Mariah, she's supposed to do exactly what she did this week, which I think is pick songs that she feels and deliver them with every bit of emotion we know she's capable of.
You are America's top 2.
I had a flash of, oh my God, wouldn't a Cree Candace finale be kind of astonishing and put to rest anyone who's like, Idol's done or Idol's not interesting anymore.
This is my love. I am breathing in the moment.
I couldn't resist.
From your lips to God's ears.
If it's not gonna be a Candace Cree finale, which girl do you think got the most momentum this week?
Based on their first song, I would put Amber there. And based on the second song, I'd put Angie.
I am forever yours.
Even if it's not a song that I'm gonna go out and buy the next morning, that's okay, because I'm excited that you're excited. I'm excited that it's showing me who you're gonna be after the show. I'm excited that you sang the hell out of it.
Even though, thank you, Amber, for doing something upbeat. I'm not with Nikki on the Beyonce watch out or anything like that.
Beyonce, you better look out, honey child, wherever you at.
She has to continue to fight in that direction and say, look, I'm current. You could hear me on the radio. These are the types of songs I want to do. I think, though, for her, a little more creativity is necessary.
I don't know. I think that she picked correctly, actually.
I get what you're saying, but I think for her to cut through to voters, she needs to surprise people.
Why America doesn't get her, I'm completely baffled.
She's got to say, how can I shock and surprise you while still being myself and being successful?
Good point. Good point.
And I think for Janelle, she needs to get back to that element of surprise. And I think, I hate to say it, but Jimmy may have been right when he said,
she doesn't have the vocal pyrotechnics of these other girls.
What was missing this week was the creativity that we've come to expect from her. It was a little bit of a letdown when she did these straightforward versions of her songs.
How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye?
So this was obviously a subject we've avoided, but this was the week Lazaro finally went home. And honestly, if he didn't go home after Close to You, then he was gonna win this whole thing, let's be honest.
That was rough. It was rough, but it did bring me my favorite moment in the telecast other than Candace, with Mariah trying to explain what you should do with a key change.
Lazaro, here's the thing.
That was like the best 30 minutes of television I've ever seen.
How do I express it?
In another
We
key.
can't go into another key and you stay in the old key.
By the time that he sang his swan song, I mean, knowing full well that the judges weren't going to use their save, you could just tell he was like, I am going home and I'm going to be okay.
Right.
Like, I got what I needed to get out of this. Let's move on. So,
and then
more
and
power
then
to you, Lazaro.
He's gonna migrate out of the competition.
Migrate, huh?
Hi, I'm Adam Pally.
And I'm Gillian Jacobs.
And subscribe to ENTV
for all your entertainment news first.